Hi, I'm Tom Melvin with Yellow Dog Fly Fishing Adventures. We're here in Bozeman, Montana, tying up a bunch of flies in the winter just to make sure once summer and spring comes along we have the right patterns for our boxes. Today I'm going to be tying the Bandit Leach for you, which is a great pattern for rainbow trout, Arctic char, and grayling. It was originally designed by, I believe, Mike McCune, who's a real famous Alaskan guide and steelhead guide. But it's a very diverse pattern. It fishes really well early season in Alaska, June or July, kind of before the sockeye spawn, and it turns more to a flesh and egg game. But can be fished throughout the entire season. Also does really well in the American West, East Coast, kind of all over where there's trout. It's a very easy pattern to tie. There's only a few materials involved. Has a lot of movement, gets down nice and deep. It can be stripped, swung, dead drifted, so you can fish in a variety of different scenarios. Kind of a must-have if you're going to Alaska early season, so June or July for rainbow trout and char. So for the Bandit Leach, like we were talking about earlier, it's a very simple fly to tie. Not a whole lot of material is used in it, but a very effective pattern. Just to go over kind of the materials used to make the Bandit Leach, we're going to start off with a size 4 streamer hook. Any hook will work, but you just want to make sure that it's nice and long and nice and sturdy and heavy. For our thread, we're just going to be using a white Danville 210 denier. We're going to add a little bit of lead wire. This is 0.03 diameter, so just a little bit of weight to get it down. For the tail and to add a little bit of flash, we're just going to be using gold Flashaboo. You can use silver or a different color if you prefer, but I really like gold. I just feel like in the clear Alaskan water, it tends to catch a little bit more sunlight and really attract the rainbows up there. And then we're going to be using 2 different kinds of rabbit strip. This is just your traditional zonker cut. You can tie it in a variety of different colors, but today we're going to be doing kind of the ginger and red combination. You can use black, purple, white, olive, so it can be tied in a variety of different colors, but we really like this kind of ginger and red color. Okay, we're going to start off by putting our streamer hook in the vise, and we're just going to add a light thread base, and we're going to take that thread back right to about the point of the hook. Don't have to be fancy here by any means, just make sure you get some thread right around the shank. And then we're going to come in with our lead wire. We're just going to add a few turns just to give it a little extra weight and keep it down. So I'm going to start that maybe about halfway down the hook shank. I'm just going to wrap forward. And I want to leave myself a little bit of space in the front, probably about 1/4 inch, just so I can build a nice kind of tapered profile head. And I like to come in here with my fingertips and just break off the actual wire, just so I'm not making any sharp points that I can cut my thread on or anything like that. And then I'm going to come back over and just put a base down on top of the actual wire, or the lead. And that just helps you if you're tying in other materials over the top. You have something to tie on, make sure it sits down nice and tight and doesn't move on you. So just nice and light. I'm going to bring my thread back right to where I ended, right about even with that hook point. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tie in some Flashaboo for the tail. I have about 3 or 4 strands of Flashaboo. You don't need much, but you want a little bit for the tail. I'm going to double it over my thread and then just bring it up and tie it in right on top. So the next thing, we're going to tie in a zonker strip, and this is the cream color. And I'm going to measure out about a length of the actual hook shank for the tail. You want to make sure your fur is pointing backwards, so when it's in the water it has a nice slim profile. And then once I have my tie-in point, I'm going to spread out the actual fur so I get a nice clean point to cinch my thread down onto that hide. I'm going to put 2 light wraps in, maybe 3 just to be safe. Pull down tight. I'm going to pull it back and bring my thread in front. And I'm going to go about 1/3 of the way, maybe a little more, up the actual hook shank, and I'll stop my thread right there. I'm going to take the remaining of this zonker strip and I'm just going to start to wrap it forward to create a body. After every wrap, you want to be sure to pull the actual fur or fibers back. A good way to do that is just to wet your fingers and slick it back every time, just so you're not tying over anything. So about 3 or 4 wraps, bring my thread over, bring it in front, cut it off as close as you can. And then you can come in here and throw in a few more wraps just to make sure it's tied down nice and tight. And then you can come back here and cut your Flyfishing on the tail. I like to cut it just behind the actual rabbit strip. And we have kind of segment 1 of the leech body. So the next thing, we're going to give it a little bit of variation. So we're just going to tie in a little red strip. That's the same zonker cut of rabbit. I'm going to come in here and tie it just in front of the actual ginger or cream color. And then I'm going to bring my thread forward, maybe just about 1/4 inch. You only need 3 or 4 wraps of this, but you're going to do the exact same thing that you did with the tail section. So just wrap forward. After every wrap, make sure you're slicking back. So that's 3 wraps. Snip it off. And maybe add a few more just to make sure it's locked down nice and tight. So finally, I'm going to come in with one final strip of rabbit fur, and this is the same material I used for the tail. Do the exact same thing I did for both segments, just tie it in right in front of it. And then I'm going to advance my thread kind of all the way up to the front. You want to give yourself about 1 eye length just so you can build kind of the end of your taper. But exact same thing. And just begin wrapping it forward. So to finish it off, we're just going to add a little bit more Flyfishing to the front. I'm just going to take a single strand and put it on each side. Once you get those in, you can really kind of build your head, get a nice taper going. Whip finish to end it. And then to trim the actual Flyfishing you put on the side, I just like to cut them right about where I started my first wraps of a rabbit strip. some Zap-A-Gap or head cement just to finish it off. You want to make sure that you don't get any super glue or head cement on the actual rabbit strip because it'll get stiff and it won't kind of undulate in the water or move as much. But that is the Bandit leech. So again, I'm Tom Melvin with Yellow Dog. We just finished tying the Bandit leech, which is a great pattern for rainbow trout, artichar, grayling. Kind of a must-have pattern if you're going to Alaska early season, but can be fished anytime throughout the summer up north. Works well also in the American West. Sure it does pretty good on the East Coast too. Super simple, easy pattern to tie. Can be tied in a variety of different colors. Gets down nice and deep and can be fished in all different types of scenarios. So again, I'm Tom Melvin with Yellow Dog. Thanks so much for watching.